So the new Minecraft update just dropped a couple of days ago, and with that came a whole lot of new terrain generation. So I decided it would be a great idea to test out how easy it is to gather resources in 1.17 versus 1.18. I spent about an hour in a world in 1.17 and a world in 1.18, completely random seeds, to see how much of each resource I could gather in that time. The resources that I'll be collecting today include coal, iron, gold, lapis, copper, and of course, diamonds. Alright, so this is the most basic Minecraft gets. Game mode survival, allow cheats off, difficulty normal. There are no mods and no resource packs. This is a brand new world in 1.17. This is how we make sure we get the most accurate representation of what resource gathering looks like in 1.17 in order to compare it to the new updates. So initially, there's a lot of lag. The settings weren't right for my laptop, so I had to go in real quick and lower some settings, etc. But once that's done, everything's better. I'm able to go in and start cutting down trees. This is the basic first step to resource gathering in any Minecraft world, of course. Once I gather enough wood, I'm gonna craft it to planks and make a crafting table. Now that I have a crafting table, I'm going to make some sticks and make a pickaxe. Ignore that I'm breaking the crafting table with it. Next up, I'm going to be gathering some stone. This will help me to get better tools right away. Plus, I need to make a furnace in order to smelt any ores that I'm going to be using. So, obviously getting stone right away is good too. First thing I'm going to do, stone pickaxe. And then, I'm going to make some more sticks. And I decided to, hey, I'm going to make a stone sword. I don't actually end up really using the stone sword in the end. Across the river I saw a ravine, so now I'm just going to be mining, looking around. Ravines and caves are great for when you're starting in 1.17 because you almost always find resources such as coal and iron. I already have 8 iron from this ravine, and there's plenty more to come. As you can see here, I jumped down to get some more. At this point, I hadn't decided that I was going to get copper yet. I kind of forgot it existed, so I missed it for now, but I will go back and get it. I'm already at 18 iron, and I'm going to go here and get the coal right away. An important thing you're going to see is I'm not going to make any torches until I get 64. I'm not going to make any torches right away. I'm going to wait until I'm closer to getting 64 pieces of coal until then. That's going to make it a lot easier on me to keep track of how much coal I've used. Now that I've gotten the copper, I put it in my hotbar so I'm able to see more easily how much of the resources I've gotten. Something to keep in mind with copper is that in 1.17 it drops 2 to 3 raw copper, versus in 1.18 it drops 2 to 5. So here I'm going to make the furnace, and now we're going to start cooking with wood. And here we get some more iron. And throw that into the furnace right away. I end up using the iron I already had to make a helmet. Iron is a lot easier to keep track of than coal is, especially since it's not getting used up as quickly. So I decided to make some armor right away if I'm not going to be making any torches. I did forget how to make a shield for a second. Next thing I'm doing, I'm just securing the premises a little bit, gathering all the resources in the ravine at the bottom. At this point, I've gotten 21 in the furnace, 4 in my hotbar, and 5 with the helmet. So we're almost at the right amount. Here I'm going to get some more coal. Love going through and watching as I just zoom around the ravine. Alright, so if we total up how much I have, 5 in the helmet, 7 and 21, that's 28, plus 5 is 33. We've reached our goal of 32 iron. To reiterate our goal for this, we're looking to get 64 coal, 64 lapis, 32 iron, 16 gold, 8 diamond, and 32 copper. I now have 8 torches, which means I use 2 pieces of coal. That means I need 62 more in total. I realized I forgot to make a new pickaxe, so here I made a new pickaxe. I jumped down and realized that that wasn't iron, that was gold, so now I have to go use 3 pieces of iron to make an iron pickaxe. This way I can start collecting the gold. Remember, we need 16 gold. As you'll notice here, I now have 64 pieces of coal, so I put that into the furnace right away. I'm also going to make a second furnace and end up splitting the coal between the two, and then making some more torches. This is just going to speed up the process of both smelting and making food. I also have now finally made food. Now that I have an iron pickaxe, I can get all of the gold in the ravine. And now I'm just going to search around to see if there's any more gold that I can get right away. Since I have enough iron, I'm not getting all the iron in the ravine. Instead, I elected to start strip mining here. Here's where I decided that now it's time to make a full set of iron armor, especially since I'm probably going to be finding caves. After doing that, I realized that I needed to get more wood, so this is me going to the surface and getting some more wood, and just getting other basic supplies like food. Now that I've killed 3 sheep, I can also make a bed. Once I've gathered all the wood, I head back down. Now I'm going to go back to my little station here. You see me, I'm making a bucket so I can get water. I'm making a bed. I'm also going to end up making a chest as well. This is so I can put the resources I've already gathered in it. And this will help just give a better idea and better organization to what I have already gathered. Plus, if I die, at least I don't lose everything. After a little bit of indecisiveness, I ended up putting the gold in there. I figured it was a better idea than risking losing all of it. I went back and made more torches. And now I stole the water and I'm going to head and start strip mining. I heard the sound of the axolotl, so I ended up following that, and that's how I ended up finding this cave. I gathered up the coal in the cave and continued going down. I saw the lapis, so I knew that was going to be my next step. Before I jumped down, though, I searched the rest of the cave area up there, just to make sure. For a brief second, you can see the axolotl. I ended up picking up the oxide daisy there. At this point, I'm just continuing searching the cave looking for any resources. I did kind of forget that I needed one more piece of lapis, so that's going to go unchecked for a little while. I wasn't planning on gathering redstone, but because I saw some, I decided to get it. I ended up not bringing down a crafting table or a furnace, and I decided to make one down here so I wouldn't have to run all the way back to the top. I decided to check to see if there were going to be any diamonds that spawned by the lava. After eating, I made some more pickaxes so I could continue strip mining. As you can see here, after like 5 blocks of strip mining, there were diamonds on the ceiling. So we've gotten 8 diamonds, which is the goal that we were aiming for. Which means that at this point, we're basically just gathering resources and seeing how much we can get in the allotted time. At this point, we are just under 40 minutes in. Here I ended up mining from inside the cave to the surface because I had no idea where I was. After a quick glance around the land, I was able to find where I was and get back to my ravine. I placed a water bucket, which is a dumb idea. I lost all the torches there. I ended up going through the rest of the ravine to look at any other resources that happened to be in there. Because I had so much extra time during 1.17, I wasn't exploring caves as much. I was able to go back and continue searching for resources. At 40 minutes, I was able to just go around and continue finding more of each type of resource just to get a better idea of it. I couldn't do that in 1.18 because of the larger generation and having to explore more. I ended up finding an axolotl, and he stays in my inventory with me. Everything else in the 1.17 speedrun is me going through gathering any extra resources I can, just trying to find more of each ore. I ended up going back down to where I found the diamonds initially and continued strip mining from there for a little while. So here I saw the diamonds, but I also saw the creeper and decided that the best course of action was to get away from the diamonds so the creeper wouldn't blow it up. At this point it was 57 minutes, I only had 3 minutes left, so I decided to just head back to the surface. And then, once I got back to my ravine, tragedy struck. After being devastated about the death of my Lotl, I went and put all the resources in the chest. And now the zombie dies the same way the Lotl did. With the last minute or so of time I have left, I'm just reorganizing the chest and smelting down the last of the iron I have. As you can see, we met our goals for all of the resources, some of them by a long shot. But now that this is done, we get to the fun part. 1.18. So I start off in the world. As you can see, there are no mods. Making a new world. Game mode survival, difficulty normal, cheats off, generating. So to reiterate, we are looking to get 64 coal, 32 iron, 32 lapis, 16 gold, and 8 diamonds. We're having similar issues this time as we were last time with visuals and settings. So, of course, there's going to be some lag while it all generates. First thing we're doing, of course, is cutting down trees. And I stopped for a second to look at how cool the water generation is there. Because this is the first time I was actually looking at 1.18, there were a couple of moments where I just kind of stopped and looked around at stuff, which didn't entirely help the actual speedrunning bit. But very early on, I was able to get stone and able to get some coal. I almost forgot my crafting table. My general game plan is to go into caves, and because of how large they are, I thought that would be super easy to find resources in them. Without even going into caves, I was almost at my goal of 64 pieces of coal. And after looking in some shallow caves, I was able to get my goal of 64 coal. At this point, we were only about 7 minutes in, which compared to before was kind of a slow start, but now we've already found some iron too, so we're starting to catch up again. I temporarily decided that this is where I was going to bunker down. This is going to change in a little bit, but I thought that this is where home base was going to be. Because I got so much coal so much quicker this time around, I was able to use it right away in furnaces and in making torches. Since it's getting close to nighttime, I decided to bunker down a little bit, eat some food, and make a makeshift wall. Not that anything was coming in anyways. With that, I explored the rest of the cave that I was in. This is when I decided that I needed to move where I was. I took all the torches and continued wandering around to find a bigger cave. I ended up finding this one, which turned out to be so much better. I lit up the area, killed some mobs. At this point I still have wooden axe, so it's not going great for killing anything. After lighting up the area, I felt safe enough to start making an actual home base. Now watch as I struggle to place a bed. After figuring that out, I started mining around getting copper. As you can see, I'm getting copper a lot quicker this time around, and already I'm able to get the 32 pieces of copper at 15 minutes. That in mind, I still only have 45 minutes left to get everything else, and these caves are massive. With my newfound resources, I made a sword and decided that my next step was to jump down here. I ended up sealing that up and forgetting it was there for a while, so I just never went back to look. Here I skipped through the basic exploration. I ended up mining more resources. I didn't have any armor, so I wasn't going too far. I was just lighting it up and seeing what we had. At this point, I realized I didn't have any more food, so I went up to kill some pigs. What I didn't realize was how much hunger killing pigs was going to take from me, so I ended up starting to starve by the time I got back. As you can see, my walking speed decreased dramatically, but I still needed to get more wood. At this point, I was just hoping that I would get food before starving to death. With more food in my inventory, I was ready to continue exploring. At this point, I decided that my best bet to getting resources wasn't going to be running around the caves anymore, and I needed to start actually mining. Because of how much lower Y level goes, I had a lot of work to do. At this point, I had no armor, so I was really trying to not go into any of the caves, but here I'm just searching for it because I could not find where it was. I was very cautious at this point, but eventually decided to dive down and continue exploring again. I ended up coming back to this area a lot because I did this. Something I kind of forgot about when it came to the new generation was how wacky and insane all of the caves are going to look. They're super narrow caves that drop down several blocks worth, and it is terrifying to be walking alongside it when you can't see the bottom. Now that I've gathered enough iron, I feel more comfortable taking the iron and making tools and armor. So now that I got an iron pickaxe, I'm actually able to go back down and get more resources. The problem is, this is at 35 minutes, so we are already super behind compared to last time. At 35 minutes last time, we had already gotten everything except for diamonds. So now that I made some iron armor, I'm able to continue exploring and be more risky with cave diving. I also decided to make some more torches right away. Because I kept messing up on my pathing, I started blocking off areas that I've already been to and that I haven't started mining in. On the other side of the amethyst geode, I was able to find gold and continue exploring back there to find things such as lapis. There's this extremely deep drop down there. I ended up opting to not go down there. But here I decided to go inside of the amethyst instead. I started heading down, but ended up turning around. I completely forgot that I actually had a shield in my inventory that I could have used. I make it back to the surface. I now have 64 lapis. Put the amethyst in the chest. Put the extra iron in the chest. At this point, I made an iron axe so that I actually have a weapon I like using and not a sword. So far, I'm only at 6 gold, which is 10 short of my goal, and I haven't even seen any diamonds yet. Here you can see I messed up on going through the wrong way, even though I've made the barrier, so I made it bigger. At this point, it is crunch time. I didn't know where diamonds spawn, and I didn't have an actual generation map at this point, so I wasn't sure how to actually find them. So right now, I am zooming around, trying to look for anything that I can use. And here I found some more cave that dives down deeper. At this point, the main things I'm looking for are diamonds and gold. I end up deciding that if I'm going to find diamonds, I need to dive down deeper. My intuition was correct, and I was able to do this and find more gold. But it still wasn't enough. Lucky for me, I did find more of the caves that are extremely narrow. This one had more of a dome shape to it rather than a drop-off. At this point, I've successfully gotten 16 gold, even though I didn't stop to actually check it. Without realizing, I almost walked past diamonds, but now that I got them, I can officially say I found all of the resources. The only issue was I hadn't found enough diamonds to say that I met my goal. So at this point, all I'm doing is spending the last amount of time that I have exploring and trying to find more of anything. Because the caves are so much more massive this time, it's so much easier to explore them and run around. The only difficulty is if you are not deep enough, you're not going to be able to find the resources you need. Another thing to keep in mind is that there is no coal with deep slate anymore. So you will never find coal at the same Y level as you will with diamonds. So it's very important that you have enough before diving down. At this point, I'm running pretty low on time, so my main goal is to just see if I can find anything else without getting too lost. After running around in the same area for a little while, time was running short quick. And at this point, I still hadn't found any more diamonds by running through the caves. I ended up realizing that I needed to get back, time was running out, and I needed to make sure that I had all the resources I needed in the chest, or in the general area at least. At this point I realized that I'm pretty much lost, but as soon as I managed to find the cobblestone, I was able to get back home. With just a couple minutes to spare, I was able to throw the gold and the iron into the furnace and put the rest of everything into the chest. Time is officially up, so all I'm doing is just generally waiting for everything to finish smelting. It takes a long time. For some reason, I just started staring at the chest. Now I'm just waiting for all of the gold to finish smelting so that I'm able to count it all up. And now that it's done, we're able to see how much of all the resources I gathered. I have reached my goal for everything except for diamonds, which, all things considered, I would say it's pretty well done. And with that, the resource speed run is done. So now that the resource speed run is done, let's take a look at how much of each ore we successfully got. Starting with 1.17, we got more than 64 coal, 64 plus 54 iron, 37 gold, 2 stacks of lapis and plus 9, a stack and almost a half of copper, and 14 diamonds, versus what we got in 1.18. We got more than 64 coal, 46 iron, 22 gold, 64 lapis, 35 copper, and 4 diamonds. So what we can gather from this is that, based on old methods of mining, it's significantly easier to get resources in 1.17. Keep in mind though, the main method I used for gathering resources outside of iron and copper and coal was strip mining, which strip mining is no longer possible to do in 1.18 due to the levels of generation. So, what should you keep in mind when going mining in the future? Well, just remember that the lower down you go, especially into deep slate, you are more likely to find resources such as diamonds, lapis, and redstone. However, if you are anywhere in stone, you're most likely to find things such as coal, iron, and gold. The higher up you go, you're more likely to find coal, and the more likely you are to find emeralds. And if you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It sounds cheesy, but it really helps me out, especially since I'll be making more content like this and better in the future. So, thank you all very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!